Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the CPFSA's Ananda Alert webinar. How are you doing? You know, it's nice to see you online and in the studio today. To all the persons with the time to be here, we have over 100 persons online. Yes, thank you so much for joining. We know you are here to learn information today, and it's our privilege here at the CPFSA to provide you with all the information you need to know for this webinar this evening. We are exploring the topic, would you know what to do if your child goes missing? And I know all the persons online today are very curious to find out what to do in this atmosphere right now, and we are happy to provide that information to you. So once more, welcome, welcome, welcome. So before we go any further, I'm going to be inviting Miss Jean Duhaney, the team leader from St. Catherine, to just come and pray at this time, as we always want to invite the presence of the Lord to be with us here at our event at CPFSA.
Thank you, sir. Let us pray. Loving God, we honor you, we magnify your holy name. Father, as Psalm 127:3 reminds us, lo, children are an heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is your reward. Sovereign God, as we this afternoon meet in this forum, we invite your holy presence among us, Almighty God, as we seek to edify, O God, your people as to the protection of our nation's children. We ask, Almighty God, that you will bless this event. We pray, Almighty God, that you will grant us insight. We ask, O Father, that you will keep your children, O God, continuously safe. We ask, Almighty God, that you will grant us, Almighty God, direction and, Mighty God, the wisdom that we need in such a time as this. Father, we ask, Almighty God, that Father, those of us who serve, mighty God, and those who protect our children, God, from the home, from the community, oh God, and the various environments to which they're a part, we pray, Father, that even now, that information will reach your people, oh God, and that we will not be afraid. But as we seek, Almighty God, that you'll grant us, oh God, the impetus, oh God, to meet every child's need. Father, we look to you. Father, except the Lord build the house, then those of us who serve, we labor in vain. And so we ask, oh God, for your wisdom. Bless, sanctify, and this afternoon that everything that will be done in honor and glory of your name. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen, and thank you, Miss Duhaney. I have a small favor right now to all the persons online, whether it is Zoom, YouTube, wherever you're viewing from, just to share the link, Send that link to someone on your WhatsApp status, on Instagram, on Twitter, wherever. Just spread the news so that we can have an overflow of persons in the room to hear what we have to present to you this evening. So the Ananda Alert System is Jamaica's national response to the missing children phenomenon. This system was designed as a rapid alert system to ensure the safe and speedy recovery of missing children in Jamaica by operating in an effective and far-reaching alert system, as well as providing intervention services to the children and families that are affected. The system was established in 2009 in response to the disappearance of 11-year-old Ananda Dean, whose body was found some weeks later. And the system was named in her honor. The issue of missing children in Jamaica continues to be of a great concern, with over 1,000 cases being reported between January and December 2024. And it's important to note that this is a reduction over the previous year, but we still have a cause for concern. Now, the International Missing Children's Day is observed on May 25 each year, and is used to raise awareness about the issue of missing children. The day is used to highlight the challenges of this phenomenon, to celebrate those children that have returned home safely, while also reflecting on those who have not yet been found and their families that continue to hope for their safe return. So this webinar this evening is pretty much serving as a valuable resource to parents, guardians, and the wider community, offering practical insights on how to protect our children. The primary goals of the Ananda Alert Secretariat, beyond the safe recovery of missing children, is to prevent children from going missing in the first place. So this webinar is designed to equip you, the parents, the guardians, the caregivers, with enough knowledge and skills to try to prevent your children from going missing. Lovely. I see the persons in the comments. Thank you so much for commenting. So we have 4 objectives this evening, sorry. And the first one is to increase awareness of contributing factors and risks associated with missing children. 2, to enhance parents' understanding of social media, behaviors, and languages that lead to vulnerability. 3, to share proactive strategies that parents and guardians can engage to prevent children from running away from home. And 4, to equip parents and guardians with practical tips and strategies to prevent child disappearances. Now, this evening, we have Mr. Lorenzo Badalo with us. He is the Director of Alternate Care Services here at CPFSA, and he'll be coming at this time to give the welcome remarks on behalf of our CEO, Mrs. Lorette Adams Thomas.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, I would like to warmly welcome each and every one of you to this timely and important child safety webinar being hosted by the Ananda Alert Secretariat. A special welcome to our presenters and partners who are joining us in person, and to all our parents, guardians, club leaders, church members, teachers, and community reps who are tuning in online across the island and region. Thank you for taking the time to be here. We are grateful for your presence. This webinar is being held in commemoration of International Missing Children's Day, observed yesterday, May 25. International Missing Children's Day is a global reminder of the importance of child safety and the urgency of finding and protecting children who have gone missing. Most importantly, this day calls us to act, to become more vigilant, more informed, and more involved in creating protective environments for our children. It is a welcomed coincidence that International Missing Children's Day and National Child Month coincide every year. Their alignment serves as a powerful and sobering reminder that protecting our children from abuse, exploitation, and disappearance must be a continuous and collective effort. As we mark Child Month under the theme, Act Now, Stand Up Against Child Abuse and Exploitation, tonight is our chance to put those words into practice by learning, by listening, and by leading with love and responsibility in our homes, our schools, and our communities. Our focus this evening is not just on sharing information, but on informing inspiration and inspiring intervention. While I have the honor of giving you the welcome, I won't go into too much detail about tonight's presentation or the flow of the session, as you will be given an overview shortly. What I will do, however, is take this opportunity to speak directly to you, our parents and caregivers. We know that children go missing for many reasons. Some run away from environments that feel unsafe. Others are lured by predators who exploit their vulnerabilities, both online and in the real world. That is why it's critical, urgent, essential that we do everything in our power to make our homes a haven. Homes must be a place of safety, not secrecy, a place of comfort, not chaos, a place of love, not loneliness. As parents, we must create spaces that our children do not want to run away from and that others cannot easily lure them away from. This begins by listening to our children, seeing them, valuing their voices. When your child feels heard, they are more likely to open up to you about people who make them uncomfortable, whether in person or online. When you build trust with your child, they will come to you, even with things that seem small to them, but which may be a major red flag to you. And yes, Sometimes they may tell you about a friend skipping school to hang out with strangers or another child inviting them somewhere unsafe. And you, with your experience and wisdom, will recognize the risk and step in. But we must always also be physically present. Children left without supervision are more vulnerable. They are more vulnerable to harm, to exploitation, and to manipulation. Predators, ladies and gentlemen, look for those cracks. Children who are unsupervised, who feel invisible, who lack attention and affirmation. That is why we say protect your children with presence, guard them with your guidance, and cover them with your care. If you remember only one thing from tonight, let it be this. Create a home where your child feels safe enough to share and strong enough to say no. As renowned child psychiatrist Dr. Bruce Perry reminds us, relationships are the agents of change, and the most powerful therapy is human love. Strong, trusting bonds between parent and child can serve as a powerful shield against the dangers that may lure children away from safety, because it is in loving, attentive relationships that children develop the resilience and confidence to resist harmful influences. While we know that parenting and creating safe spaces for your children are not easy, we here at the CPFSA remain committed to working with you, parents, schools, churches, and communities to ensure that every Jamaican child is safe, supported, and seen. Thank you for showing up today as you take the necessary steps along the right path. Let me also say thank you to the dedicated team at CPFSA, particularly our hardworking Ananda Alert Secretariat and all our staff behind the scenes who have made this webinar possible. And as I close, as you listen to the insights being shared tonight from our experts in the police force and child protection sector, I urge you to listen carefully, take notes, ask questions, and most importantly, when you leave here, share what you have learned. Talk to your family, your friends, your fellow church member. And remember, if your child goes missing, report it immediately to the nearest police station. If you suspect or know of a case of abuse, call 211. Do not delay. Thanks again for being here with us. Let us learn, share, and act, because protecting our children starts with us. God bless you.
Thank you, Sir Badalo. Thank you so much for that lovely welcome remarks. I'm hoping by now we're all feeling welcome to the over 300. Oh, good job, team. Good job. We're all a team this evening. So to the over 300 persons on Zoom, thank you so much for doing the job and spreading the word and having the numbers go up. Let's try to get to 500, yeah? Let's do that. And if you're hearing me, just let me see you have the reaction thumbs up, the thumbs up, if you can hear me clearly. Just let me know that, oh, there we go. Lovely, 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 lovely. So I know Sir Badalo spoke about the overview in his greetings. So at this time, Mrs. Licia Bagwandat Vassal, the Deputy Registrar of the National Children's Registry, the NCR, will be coming at this time with the overview.
Good evening, everyone. Missing Children's Day was first observed in the United States of America in 1983 in response to the 1979 disappearance of 6-year-old Ethan, who disappeared from a street corner in New York City. Over the years, the prevalence of the missing children crisis has come to the fore, and many countries have since begun to recognize the global prevalence of this situation. As such, the observation of what was just a national day of commemoration became an international one, and many countries around the world, including Jamaica, now acknowledge May 25th as International Missing Children's Day. The day is used to raise awareness about the situation of missing children. It is also a time to reflect on the families who continue to search for their loved ones, to celebrate the dedicated law enforcement personnel, or Jamaica Constabulary Force, who investigate these disappearances, members of the public that remain vigilant, and the exemplary efforts of social services and organizations that provide support to those who are affected. The day is further used to highlight cases of children that have gone missing but have not yet been found, as well as to celebrate the success stories of those who have safely reunited with their families. The issue of missing children is a complex and multifaceted one that affects many countries. There are several factors that contribute to this alarming rate at which missing children are being reported globally. Some missing children are victims of abduction by family members or by strangers. Others are runaways due to various reasons, such as violence, peer pressure, mental health challenges, and there are some for whom their disappearances are unknown. While the vast majority of children that go missing will eventually return home safely or will be recovered through search and recovery efforts, consideration must be given to the reality that each missing episode increases the risk of harm and exploitation to the child, as well as emotional and psychological distress to their family members and loved ones, which extend to the community, school, church, and other groups that the child is associated with. The Ananda Alert system is Jamaica's national response to the missing children phenomena. The system was designed as a rapid alert system to ensure the safe and speedy recovery of missing children in Jamaica by operating an effective and far-reaching alert system, as well as providing intervention services to children and families that are affected. The system was established in 2009 in response to the disappearance of 11-year-old Ananda Dean, who was kidnapped and murdered and whose body was found some weeks later. This system was named in her honor. This brought about a change where the public does not have to wait 24 hours to report a child missing, but once you cannot give an account for the child and all is done to try to locate the child, this report should be made to the nearest police station. The issue of missing children in Jamaica continues to be of great concern to the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, with a little over 1,000 cases reported between January to December 2024, which is just a marginal reduction when compared to the number of reported cases in 2023. As a country, we have made great strides in reduction of the number of children who have gone missing over the years, but there is much more to be done. We continue to work in collaboration with our stakeholders to further reduce these numbers, as one missing child is too many, with one family and community in distress. To commemorate International Missing Children's Day 2025, the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, through the Ananda Alert Secretariat, is hosting this parenting webinar. This evening will serve as a valuable resource for parents, guardians, various clubs, school officials, and the wider community. One of the primary goals of the Secretariat, apart from the safe recovery of missing children, is to prevent children from going missing in the first place. This webinar is designed to equip parents, guardians, teachers, caregivers, guidance counselors with the knowledge and the skill to assist in preventing the children in their care from going missing. As a group, parents, guardians, caregivers, community members, youth group, you form an integral part in the protection of our nation's children. This evening, we will share with you valuable information from the CPFSA and from a member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, factors that contribute to children going missing, early prevention techniques, social media language and behaviors, what to do if your child goes missing, practical safety tips for parents and guardians, and how the communities can work together to protect our children. Parents and guardians, ladies and gentlemen, stakeholders, children, thank you for joining this webinar this evening, and it is our hope that at the end, you will gain some beneficial information. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Bagwandat Vassal. So with that said, there's not much more to do than to ask you to get your pens and papers out, to have your recording devices ready, because now we will move to the meat of the matter with the Ananda Alert presentation. So I'm going to be inviting Miss Anna J. Roberts, the Ananda Alert Officer, and Miss Deidreon Spurgeon, the Children's Officer at the Ananda Alert Unit, to come at this time with the presentation on the Ananda Alert.
Good evening. Right. Good evening. Protecting our children, understanding and preventing incidents of child disappearances. The Ananda Alert system is a Jamaican's response mechanism in place to ensure the safe and speedy recovery of a child in the unfortunate event that he or she is reported missing. Before the Ananda Alert system, there was the Red Alert system that one would have to wait 24 hours before making a report. However, due to the unfortunate incidents that took place with little Ananda Dean, that has been removed, so persons, as soon as a child cannot be accounted for, that child should be reported missing. The system is largely stakeholder-based and relies on input of every Jamaican across every sector, including government agencies, private sectors, community organizations, and all citizens to ensure the safety of Jamaicans' children. In 2022, a memorandum of understanding was signed, and in total we have 16 government and non-government agencies. Name a few: Victim Services Unit, Hear the Children Cry, the Jamaica Library Service, and by extension, the CPFSA. Data trends. Between the year 2014 to 2024, there have been a 49% reduction in the number of reports compared to 2014. In 2014, a total number of 1,984 children reported missing, and in 2024, a total number of 1,011 children was reported missing. And of the 1,011 that was reported missing, a total of 89 have returned home, and unfortunately, 11 is still missing. 11% is still missing. So 89% have returned home and 11% is still missing. So we have categories of missing children. We have lost or injured, abducted, and runaways. So before we look at the categories of missing children, we have a parish breakdowns of the reported cases. So in St. Catherine, we have a large number of 301 reports that have been made, and that's the highest reports that we have made. And in Portland, we have a total of 12. So in Portland is the least amounted of reported cases of missing children, and in St. Catherine, it's a large amount of 301 reports made. So categories of missing children. We have lost or injured, abduction, or runaways. Lost or injured. Children that are due to an accident have gotten lost or separated for a caregiver. For example, you visit the market with your child and you stop at a vendor to purchase something. You may just let go of the child for just a split second just to pay for the produce that you are paying for. And in that incident, the child may just see a vendor passing with a ball or cotton candy or something that catches their attention very easily. So in that split second, that child now becomes a lost child. Abduction. So abduction refers to children that have been taken by someone without the parents' permission or against the child's will. In abduction, we have family abduction and non-family abduction. Family abduction have to do with most times parental disagreements. Mommy or daddy not seeing eye to eye, and because they're not communicating effectively, daddy may want to have some time with the child, or mommy may want to have some time with the child. But because they're not on speaking terms, they do not communicate to say, hey, I am going to visit the school today and I'm going to take the child after school for us to spend some time, right? So runaways are children who leave home voluntarily. And in the cases, these are mostly typically the teenagers. So between the 13 and the 17-year-old, these are the children who voluntarily go missing. So some of the reasons that children run away. Some have to do with family conflicts. Family conflicts. Oftentimes, mommy and daddy at home arguing, the child is there and everything. And sometimes we forget that the children are being affected by the words that we're speaking to each other, right? So there's unhealthy home environment. Some children are victims of abuse, whether physical, sexual, emotional, right? So oftentimes we hurt the children's feeling that without even telling them. It's because that child is being home and he or she is being abused. They do not want to stay there. They're ready to stay at school. They're ready to stay on the road rather than to go home, right? Peer pressure. We all know that teenagers, especially teenagers, they go through peer pressure because of the need to fit in. I want to be like that group of persons. So whatever they're doing, I am going to do too because I want to fit in. And then you'll have children to say, if you want to fit in, if you want to part in our crew, you have to smoke, you have to take the molly, you have to be defiant, you have to be disrespectful to teachers, you do not attend classes just because they want to fit in. All right. So now we're going to understand the signs. So signs to look for in the event to know that, hey, my child may be thinking of running away. Threatening to run away. You and the child have a disagreement. You tell the child, hey, go and wash the plate. And the child may say, I now wash the plate, you know, I just left a place here. I can't bother every minute, I feel wash plate. You know, at least little things, that's the first thing they're going to say, oh, me I go run away. Child may have problems at school. So they keep having little issues at school, so teacher may tend to call you in for little misunderstandings. They keep fighting, you know, being disrespectful to teachers, you know, the rebellious behaviors towards you and towards their class teachers. You know, certain commitment to saving money, right? You have a child, if it's in $5, they go into the shop to buy sweetie. They have never saved $1 in their life. All of a sudden, they're just saving every money they get. They save. They don't have a reason. They cannot provide a reason to you that, hey, I am saving this money because I want to go on a school trip, or I'm saving this money because I want to buy a new phone. They cannot give an account for why they're saving. They just, you know, want to save and save. Also, the child may become withdrawn or secretive. Used to have this bubbly child always speaking, you know, always interacting, and all of a sudden the child just becomes withdrawn. They no longer speak to you. If you should like see them on their phone as like, let me see, oh no, mommy. You know, they want to hide the phone, and usually the child would show you what's on their phone, right? Another issue is staying out late. Child school leaves overs at 2 p.m. and 7 o'clock the child is walking in. And this behavior happens over time. So over a period of time, you'll notice that, you know, the time gradually changed. It was 5, now it's 6, now it's 7, and then in some circumstances, the child does not come home any at all. So transit happens to do with a child, what we would call school. So you send the child to school and he or she does not attend school nor attend classes. Right? Preventing teen runaways, communication and connection. Communicate with your children. Don't be afraid to sit down and have conversations with them. Yes, some of the times the conversations may be a little bit uncomfortable for both you and for both them. But it's important for you to have those conversations with them. Because in most cases, if you don't have those conversations with them, then it opens a pathway for strangers to have those conversations with them. And those are some of the reasons why sometimes persons get to adopt children. Right? Plan activities and involve the child. Whether you want to have a movie night or a games night, a picnic, whatever it is, also include the child in these plannings. So, okay, you choose what you want us to do, whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. The child may want to have, you know, a popcorn night. Okay, fine. You know, you get the popcorn. What they want to do is the old-fashioned way of getting the corn grains and put it in the pot to let it pop. Or you get the modern days, you put them in the the microwave and allow it to pop. But involve the child in whatever activity, right? Show your child love and affection. Don't be afraid to hug your child. Don't be afraid to show your child affection. Oh, you look nice this morning going to school, a uniform well pressed, your hair groomed and nice. That is so lovely. You smell nice, man. Have a wonderful day. Mommy loves you. Daddy loves you. Don't be afraid to show affection to your child. You know, be compassionate towards them. If a child comes to you to talk about something, don't run them. Man, or ground this man. You know, communicate with them, compassion with them. Like, let me hear what is happening with you. Right? So the next one is supervision and awareness. Be attentive and watch for subtle behavior changes, knowing the routine and be able to spot any differences. Again, for example, you have this bubbly child, always bubbling, always want to go to church, always want to hang out with her family and friends and her cousins, but all of a sudden, she does not want to play, she does not want to interact with anybody, she does stay away, or he does stay away in their room, you know, on their phone and their device, and the child used to be an outgoing person, but all of a sudden, he or she is no longer outgoing. Follow your child's social media pages. We know that they have fake accounts, and so you build a fake account too. Because if in the event that, you know, they'll say, that's mommy's page, I'm going to block mommy. Because, you know, especially the WhatsApp statuses, we can choose who we want to view our statuses, right? Friend one of their friends. Get a friend of your child that can tell you back information. Fine? Yes, it's your child friend, but sometimes you have to friend them so that you can know what is going on with your child. Know their friends, as I said before, and contact information for them. Build a personal or a professional relationship with your child's teacher. Go to the school, attend the PTA meetings, attend the report sessions, because most of the time when you go to report session, that's what you know what is happening with your child. So don't be afraid to go to the schools and interact with your children's teachers, right? Skills and confidence building. Begin teaching each child about safety at an early age, right? At an early age, we tend to teach our children, you know, good touches, bad touches, stranger, danger. So at an early age, you introduce them to things like this so they can be able to identify things from an early age. Teach them problem-solving skill, critical thinking, and life skills. Build their confidence to trust their decision-making. All right. Last one, guidance and intervention. Be a positive role model in their life. Teach them appropriate and acceptable behaviors. Address difficult situations early before they escalate and become out of control. Right? So if you can know what is happening and you can control it from now before it gets out of hand, you know that your child is a liar because you left some money on the dresser, and when you return home, the money is missing. And you're going to ask the child, where's the money? Mommy, I don't know, right? So you would have identified an issue with your child that your child tells lie. So you try to correct it from there and say, hey, this is not right, do not do it. More than allow the child to continue doing it and not addressing the issue. And then that said child may go to school, teacher might have her purse or her handbag on the desk, and that child go into the teacher's handbag to steal the money. Now you have the school calling you, police involved, other persons involved, when you could have curbed the situation from a younger stage. Right? Also, we're going to delve into some social media usages and practices, and I'm going to ask Ms. Anna J. Roberts to come and continue this presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Anna J. Roberts, and I am just taking over. I'm picking up where Miss Spurgeon left off. So I want to thank her for taking us up to this point. She has shared some very practical situations, and you know, one that resonates with me is the market example, and I'm sure that a lot of you can imagine yourself in a situation like that, or if not the market, maybe the supermarket, because you know your child might know the sweetie aisle, and while you're reaching for the milk, the bread, the vegetables, they have wandered off, and in a split second you can, you know, find yourself in despair and turmoil, even trying to figure out where your child is. So again, thank you, Miss Virgin, for taking us up to this point. So we are looking at the situation of missing children a little bit through a process. So far we have looked at what happens before, what are some of the signs to look out for, and how we can try and prevent it from happening. We will continue the discussion and continue to speak about what happens when or if your child goes missing, and how that situation, how the police, how the CPFSA will support you through that situation, and what will happen afterwards. So we are still looking at how to try and spot the signs and how to prevent it from happening. All right, so we will be looking at social media next. And when we look at the different missing children cases, we are seeing more and more often that social media use, it is becoming more prevalent in the different situations, the different cases that come across our desk. So, social media, it refers to any site, website, or application that allows users to create and share content with each other. The content can be in pictures, it could be videos, it could be messages. Now, these websites, they can be accessed from any device once it has an internet connection. And I want to stress that point. There are times where your child may have done something and you want to punish them, and so you take the mobile phone from them, but you don't take the tablet, and the computer is still in their room. My apologies. So keep in mind that these social media sites, they can be accessed from any platform, from any device that can access the internet. So even if you have taken the phone, they can still access the sites from their tablets, from their laptops, and so on. But social media is not always a bad thing. It's not an automatic bad space. Social media has proven to be very helpful when it comes to helping with assignments, helping with homework, studying. It makes it very easy to communicate with friends and family members. You know, long gone are the days when you had to buy a phone card. You can now use WhatsApp to call a family member overseas. And also, social media allows us to have real-time access to news and entertainment. So it's not an automatic bad place. So while that is the case, it does have the opportunity to be dangerous. So social media can also lead to unwanted or inappropriate attention. Keep in mind, when we have these accounts, we don't know, and your child, your teenage child, or even your younger child, they don't necessarily know who they are communicating with. So access to these platforms can lead to unwanted or inappropriate attention. Persons can pretend to be anyone they want. They can make up a new personality. They can create profiles with different pictures and so on. So persons have a sense of, I'm not going to say that word, I don't want to mess it up, but persons can be anonymous when they are online, and that can bring out the worst in persons, worst in people. And of course, social media is the playground for predators. No longer do you only have to worry about what happens to your child when they're in the real world and persons that they interact with on a physical playground. We now have to be worried about those that they are interacting with while on the cyber playground, which, you know, would be social media. And there is the opportunity for persons to speak to virtually anyone on these sites. Now, when it comes to predators, they are trying to lure children out of their homes. They're trying to trick them. And there are so many different ways that these persons can try and trick our children, in the ways that they speak to children and, of course, the things that they say. So let's look at some of these examples. Let's talk on Snapchat instead. That is an automatic red flag, because once you get to understand Snapchat, and we will speak about it a little bit more, but Snapchat has a feature where messages are automatically deleted after 24 hours. So wanting to change platforms to Snapchat, it suggests that the person might might want the messages to be deleted, and you have to start wondering why. Another thing, someone might be telling your child, don't tell anyone about us. This is our little secret. Or they might say, oh, you know, you're so mature to just be 14 or any other age. They're trying to make our children feel as if they're a little bit older, make our children feel as if they're a little bit more mature, or that they are ready for this mature conversation. So these are things that we have to definitely be on the lookout for. Also, persons that are making some really grand offers. So I know a job that you would be perfect for, a modeling job even. If we see any of this type of communication, we know that we have to be a little bit concerned. Well, not a little bit. We have to be very concerned. So there are a lot of different social media sites. We know WhatsApp, a lot of us use it. We know YouTube, and of course we are streaming to YouTube right now. But they're not all dangerous, as I said before, but they do have the ability to be dangerous because of the easy access that it allows strangers to have toward children, and how easily persons can manipulate other persons. Online, children, teenagers, but children of all ages, they can be at risk of exploitation, other forms of harm, cyberbullying, and of course, online predators, as I mentioned. Now, any social media app can be used by predators and can be used to lure children, but some of the more dangerous ones are Snapchat, as I mentioned, for that 24-hour message deleting. However, we need to know, and our children need to know, that nothing shared across the internet is ever really deleted. If you send a picture and you delete it, you're just no longer able to see it on your device, but the data still exists. So nothing will ever really and truly be removed. Another dangerous platform is Telegram. Persons can join any group. They can contact, message, communicate with anyone at all. And a lot of times, the content in these groups, it is very explicit, and there are very little controls on the types of content that are being shared. And of course, Tinder. Now, Tinder is an adult dating app. However, it is very easy for children to lie about their ages and create platforms, create accounts, and then they can speak to anyone, like, match, and begin having conversations with the intention of meeting up in real life. So if you see any of these apps in your children's phones or devices, be concerned. I want to add, though, there are other apps that present themselves as being completely innocent. For example, a calculator. You may see a calculator icon. However, if you were to open that app, you would notice that it's just a secret folder that is used to hide these other apps. So if you're monitoring the phones or devices, when you go through them, don't just look at the icons that you see. Open them to see what is actually inside the folder. All right. So while we speak about monitoring, you know that, of course, you're monitoring communication, but what exactly are you looking for? Now, if you check your child's phone, it's very unlikely that you're going to see a well-worded, grammatically correct essay. They will use short language, shorthand, text language, rather. So some of the easy ones, you can see the shortening, and you see the lengthened version. So today, very easy, today, and you can look at them. NSFW, not safe for work. No, adults, we go to work. Children, of course, they go to school. But what that implies is the content being shared is not safe to be opened in this kind of setting. So if you see those letters being sent, know that it is suggesting that there was something else about to be shared or has been shared that is not safe to be opened around other persons. LMIRL, let's meet in real life. And that is an automatic concern. We do not want our children to be meeting up with anyone that they have met online. And remember, a lot of times, predators, while they begin interaction online, the intention is that they will meet face-to-face and continue the exploitation face-to-face. So while checking the phones, it can be very easy. You might want to use the find feature or the search feature, and you just type in a word that you might find inappropriate. However, it's very possible that you may not find that word, probably because it has been, misspelled or some variation of spelling. But a lot of times emojis are used to communicate. We have some examples on the screen, and of course you see the translation. So you may have a situation where any series of emojis may be put together to create a brand new message without a single word being written. So you might be searching for these buzzwords or these red flag words, and they just never come up because they are being communicated using emojis or pictures. All right, so very quickly, how to keep your child safe online. So firstly, be in the know. Participate in sessions like these where we share this type of information, but also actively engage with the different social media platforms, especially the ones that your child uses. Also, join the platforms. Follow your child or connect or friend, send your child a friend request on these platforms, but at the same time, Ms. Spurgeon mentioned they may make fake profiles. So the account that you have access to may not really be the one that they are actively posting from. Monitor their activities. Check the sites that they visit. Check the conversations that they are having. And we just went through some of the red flag words, some of the red flag emojis. Pay attention to the DMs, and DMs means private messages, direct messages. But also, don't just check the sent messages, check the draft messages as well. Did you know that, sometimes children, they share passwords, so they don't ever actually have to post the conversation. They just save messages in drafts or put pictures in drafts, and then the other person accesses the same account and can see the messages because they know the parents, they're checking the sent or the received messages. So also remember to check the draft messages. Again, continuing on how to keep your children safe, consider using parental control apps. One that I like to use is Family Link. You get to monitor to see what platforms your child is using. You can set limits on how long they use it, and so on. Set clear boundaries, clear expectations. So create a social media contract of sorts as to what your expectations are regarding how they will use social media, and put in some rules. For example, let them know that they cannot use the device after 10 p.m. or earlier if you wish. No devices in the bathroom, because let's think about it. Why do you need your phone in the bathroom? Or you might say no devices at the dinner table. Whatever works best for you and your family. And also use filters. Set up filters on your child's device to block certain search results, block certain websites. And a lot of times children do get exposed to different things by accident. So you can just block it before that accident even happens. So while these are some of the things you can look out for, there are also things you need to teach your children about what they should be doing, what they should not be doing. One thing, keep their social media accounts private. All right. Never share any personal information. Also, be mindful of taking pictures of your children while they're wearing their school uniform and posting that online, because that tells the entire world what school your child goes to. So teach your children never to share any personal information. Don't share their location. And a lot of times we see it's evening, I might be hungry and I just post online, I'm going to KFC, and I state which KFC. And then I also post about what I'm wearing, you know, a navy blue dress with stripes. So if you go to KFC, you know exactly who I am. So if you wanted, you know, imagine me being a child. If someone wanted to harm me, it would be very easy for them to pick me out. So teach them to also, as I mentioned, not share their location. Don't share any intimate photographs or videos of themselves. As I mentioned, once this content is sent across the internet, the data can never really be deleted. Keep passwords a secret. Be careful who they trust online, because you never really know who is behind the screen. And of course, if someone does make them uncomfortable, they should tell a trusted adult. And while I am speaking about social media, if anyone makes them feel uncomfortable in real life as well, they should definitely speak to a trusted adult. All right, so I see a lot of hands being raised. We will definitely get to your questions. So remember your questions. We will come to them at the end. All right, so we have gone through what are some of the signs to look out for and how to try and prevent, you know, our children from going missing. But we do recognize that we can try as hard as we can. We do our best, but there will still be some eventualities. There will still be instances in which, you know, children do go missing. So I want to clarify, who exactly is a missing child? The time is now almost 7 o'clock, and you know, a situation may be that your child hasn't returned home. That information on its own, would that classify as a missing child? All right, so let's get into it. So a missing child is anyone who they are absent from home, absent from school, they're absent from where they usually, places that they usually visit. They have been absent from this location for an unusual period of time, and there is no real explanation for it. And finally, another component, and this is important, is during this time, during the time that they're not at home, school, or any place that they ought to be, the child still cannot be found even after trying to look for them. So if the child has a phone, you have to try and call them. If there are family members that they may have possibly visited, you have to make contact with those family members as well. All the places that you think your child could possibly be, check. A phone call will suffice. If, having done that, you still don't know where your child is, you report it to the nearest police station immediately. It was mentioned before, but long gone are the days, very long gone, when you had to wait 24 hours. So as soon as you don't know where your child is, you cannot account for them, no other family member can account for them, visit the nearest police station and make that report. So what do you need when you're making that report? You will need to provide the police with the child's name, the child's correct name, and also make sure that the child themselves, make sure that the children, that they know their correct names as well. A lot of times for the younger children at that, and I heard Sergeant Kayla Keene say it this morning, but a lot of times younger children, they only know their pet names. So make sure that children know their full and their correct names. You will need to provide the police with the child's school, if there are any health concerns, the child's friends, contact information for these friends, a physical description of the child, so their height, their weight, their hair color, and so on. You will need to provide when the child was last seen, where they were last seen, and what they were wearing. And you can see all the other information on screen. One of the things I want to stress though, provide a recent photograph of the child. So provide a recent photograph of the child, and that takes us into looking at the pictures that are used. So the picture is a very important part of the investigation. It makes the investigation so much easier, and it makes the public appeal a lot easier as well. But the photograph has to be one of high quality. So it shouldn't be blurry. It shouldn't have any filters on the child's face. And, you know, it has to be recent. We don't want a 15-year-old being reported missing, yet the picture is from primary school. So it shouldn't be blurry, it should be good quality, and it should be a recent photograph that truly represents what the child looks like. So their facial features should be shown clearly. The clothing shouldn't be too revealing. However, if the top is a little bit low cut and you can see it in the first photograph here, we can do a little editing to cover what needs to be covered. It should not include any excessive editing, and it must resemble what the child looks like, but also ensure that you have multiple copies of this photograph. Now, what do we do with these photographs? Once the report is made to the police station, the police have assessed the situation and determined that this particular case requires public appeal. They will activate the Ananda Alert. And that is when you will see the picture being broadcast across Jamaica. And I want to highlight the photo that is on screen. 8-year-old Navardo Blackburn has been missing since Saturday. And up to this afternoon, Navardo is still missing. And the police investigation continues. Now, you will see the photographs shared on our social media platforms. There is an Ananda Alert WhatsApp channel, so you can sign up to be a part of the WhatsApp channel to get access to these alerts in real time. The Global Missing Children's Network. Now, we are a part of a global partnership because we recognize that missing children can at times have an international component. So we are a part of a global network. And I also want to highlight that the Passport, Immigration, and Citizenship Agency, my apologies, are a part of the Ananda Alert Network. So they are monitoring our borders and doing their part to keep our children safe. The alerts of photographs, they are also on our digital screens in our CPFSA locations. And for high alert cases, high risk cases, you can receive those directly to your cell phone via text messaging. If you are interested in that particular service, it is free. So visit the CPFSA website or social media and you can sign up to receive these high alert text messages to your cell phone. Okay, so now we have gone through the reporting procedure. So what actually happens when you make the report at the station? And it has been mentioned before, there is no 24-hour wait to report a missing child. As soon as you cannot account for your child's whereabouts, visit the nearest police station and provide them with the information for an investigation to begin. So the police, they will collect your information. They will determine the risk that is associated with the case. They will conduct interviews with all the different persons that are involved, the different persons that can provide any information. And this could include the child's friends, anyone that could provide information to help track and locate that child. And that is why it's important for you to know who your child's friends are. And you know, the police, while they continue their investigation, we always hope for a safe and speedy recovery, which is the intention of the Ananda Alert system. So once that child has returned home, a debriefing session is done to find out what actually happened. Was there a situation in the home, or was there an external situation that lured the child out of home? And that situation will be addressed. Upon the child's return, they may be referred for a medical examination, and they will be referred to the Child Protection and Family Services Agency for further support and further intervention. We recognize that not only the child in the situation needs further support, but the entire family, and in some instances, the entire community. So depending on the nature of the case, that will determine the type of intervention we provide. However, CPFSA, we provide intervention to all children that have returned. All right, so I mentioned, once a child has returned, their physical needs are a priority. And that would include, or that would cover, the medical examination. The police, they must be informed of the child's return. You don't need to be afraid. You don't need to be fearful. Once your child has, returned home, or if you have found them on your own, inform the police station so that and the CPFSA so that we can provide the necessary intervention, because we want to address the reasons why the child may have gone missing, but possibly what took place during the time that they were missing, and we want to try and prevent any future reoccurrences. The medical examination may be required, and we will provide counseling to the family and to the child that has been affected. So with that, I thank you. We have spoken about the signs to look out for and what we can do. We've spoken about how to go about making the report, and we've also spoken about what actually happens after these children return home. So thank you very much, and I hand back over to Mr. Brown.
Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you for that very, very informative presentation. You know, I was there and I was saying, I'm relatively young myself. I like to believe I'm young, a little bit, oldish. And I was saying, there were so many things that were said that I forgot to think about when it comes on to the matter of how children can go missing. But what I appreciated about this a while ago was the fact that we got the background, we got the how, we got the why, and then we got the solutions to mitigate the different instances. So parents, please don't feel as though you're too old to do it. The information is here for you, and we're going to support you on the trek to keeping your child or your children safe. I know you have questions. We're going to go to the Q&A section really quickly, but please write them down. Don't forget it. But before that, we're going to ask Sergeant Leon Golding, the community safety and let me go again. We're going to be inviting Sergeant Leon Golding, Community Safety and Security Unit at the JCF, to come at this time, and he'll be speaking about community involvement in protecting your children.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I first want to bring you a greeting on behalf of the Assistant Commissioner in charge of the Community Safety and Security Branch, as well as the other hardworking members of the Community Safety and Security Branch and units across the 19 geographical divisions in the JCF as they serve you or continue to serve you, the citizens of Jamaica. This evening, the task is mine to speak about the community involvement in protecting our children. And it is the Webster's dictionary that gives community to mean a group of people who share a common interest or location, often with a sense of belonging and interaction. And in this case, the interest would be the safety of our children or the nation's children. And of such, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, through the Community Safety and Security Branch, has 4 programs that we use in our interaction with the community. And community in this case looks at the school community. We take into consideration the residential community where persons live. We look at the beach watch in terms of fisher folks living on a beach. That forms a community in itself, farm watch, etc. And what we have done is to ensure that we have programs reaching these community members to ensure that we equip them with the requisite knowledge and information as it comes, as well as the other partners that we work along with, such as our Project Star, PODIF. We work alongside CPFSA, as well as the other governmental agencies, to include the Ministry of Education, which plays an important role as it relates to our Safe School program. So the Safe School program, which is one of the programs under the JCF, and this is an MOU between the Jamaica Constabulary Force, Ministry of National Security, and the Ministry of Education, where it looks at bringing in school resource officers within those schools to facilitate mentorship of students, look at behavioral modification, just to name a few, as well as to have these persons being deployed to our transport center to cause children who normally loiter in the mornings or in the afternoon after school to get them back home or get them to school as quickly, so to reduce the possibility of any harm being measured out to them in any way, shape, or form. And what we have seen is that we have over 291 safe school officers currently, approximately 291 safe school officers currently trained and are in schools. We have 154 schools participating in this program thus far, with other schools reaching out because they see the benefits of it. They see how it is working for their students, and they see the change in the students' behavior as these safe school officers go in, identify the children with challenges, do mediation, do mentorship, and get them back on that right course. And then we look at our Police Youth Club movement, which is one of the oldest clubs or movement in Jamaica when you talk about youth movement, right? It started in Hanover and it has spread across the island with youths firing, knowing the importance of this particular gathering and empowerment that it offers. And we have the police officers from the Community Safety and Security Branch, as well as other police officers who are working in the divisions, being a part of these movements. And what it does is it identifies the at-risk youths in the community, pull them in, and then offer them training. Currently, we are looking at having our Police Youth Club camp in July, and this camp will see a partnership with Archos NSTA, which looks at the bringing to these youngsters a trade, giving them the opportunity or introducing them to different skill areas, hoping to have them, buying to the idea of owning a skill, becoming educated in that skill, and giving them an opportunity to earn from that skill. And we have several other programs that fall under the Police Youth Club movement, which looks at the engagements of youth. And now, the Neighborhood Watch movement. Now, the Neighborhood Watch movements look at the community now in its entirety. Understanding each one needs one, and being my brother's keeper goes back as far as it takes a village to raise a child. Now, with this movement, the members of the community come together to discuss matters dealing with safety and security. They look at the detection and the reduction of crime within the space. And so with each community member looking out, they can identify changes within the space. They can identify the students who you may leave as a parent to go to work in the morning, expecting your child to leave after you to catch the bus to go to school. They see that child is at home minutes after 8 then, knowing that the child is normally out by 7:30. That can then raise a red flag and cause you to get an alert from that resident who observed it, causing you to be aware of where your child is, and then look into the possible reasons why this child did not leave out as they ought to have done to go to school. Hence, you will be able to now curtail or fix the problem that exists. Also, what it does is to identify strangers within that community who may be visiting your home or visiting that child at your home, or even other students coming together at home. So we look at using these initiatives to curb some of the challenges as it relates to the security of your children. Now, as it relates to the JCF, we understand the role that we play in ensuring that these activities are carried out. But we ask that the citizens of the country buy into the idea that we cannot do it alone. We need your help. We need your help in becoming a member of the Neighborhood Watch. We need your help in ensuring your children become a part of the Police Youth Club movement. We need your help in assisting in the mentoring of the youths of today. And we believe that if we can get those 3 pillars to work, that we will have an effective, we would have an effective way in which we protect our children on a day-to-day basis. Now, can this program really work? Yes, it can work, and it has worked. I can bring your memory back to Kingston West when former Senior Superintendent of Police Steve McGregor went to Kingston West, and the residents of that community was crying out about the injuries or the incidents relating to their children within that community. And what the residents of that community did was to form a curfew program. And what this curfew program did was to, one, ensure that no child was on the road after 9. Not one. And if a parent was supposed to send a child on the road after 9, that parent will be reported to the police for the police to have a conversation. The same curfew program ensured that all the students that goes out in the morning for school leave the community and get to school. And when they come back, go back home and get in safely. So reducing possibilities of incidents. Now, with that model, we have seen successes in those communities, and we have seen other communities which would have bought into the idea of the safe community, and we have seen it work. So this evening, as we have heard from the other presenters who pointed out on the different ways in which children can be lured away, we are now sharing with you instances that can be used to reduce the possibility of these actions being taken against our children. Again, the Jamaica Constabulary Force stands firm in believing that we can indeed ensure that Jamaica can be a place to live, work, do business, and raise families. And it is with that that we stand firm in our drive to ensuring our nation's children remain safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you much. Thank you so much, Sergeant Golden. Thank you, thank you. So at this time, we're going to be facilitating your questions to provide answers for you. So we're going to kindly ask if you have a question and you want to speak, that you just raise your hand. You'll be unmuted to say your questions, or you may just type your questions in the chat and we will read and answer the questions. So I'm going to be inviting Miss Roberts to come back at this time, and Sergeant Golding, and they'll be marshalling the Q&A segment. So please, you may type in the chat, or you may just raise your hand to be unmuted, and you'll be given the option to speak for your question to be answered.
Good night again. Good evening again. All right, so I'm seeing the messages. Some of you are, agreeing with some of the points we have made. I'm seeing, someone speaking about the family link. And as I mentioned, I use that app myself, so that is very good. Yes, make sure your children know their parents' correct names. Make sure they know their names as well. And practice it with your child. If for whatever reason they can't get it, they're a bit too young and they keep making mistakes, I know back in the day we used to do it, but we still can write your name and put it on the inside of your child's bag. If you're worried that they might lose the bag, put it in their shoe, so if they get separated from you, they know that they can point persons to this information. All right, so thank you.
So I see where Marsha is asking, how can one join a police youth club? Can you provide contact details? So yes, you have Sergeant McAlpin from the Community Safety and Security Branch, who is the island coordinator, along with Corporal Chantal Osborne, who is the assistant. And I can provide my number, because I don't want to give their number. I'll provide my number. You can get in touch with me, and I'll then give them your number. So my number is 336-4614. That's 336-4614. And a police youth club is in every single parish, every single police division. And of such, if you have a great interest, you can just walk into the nearest police station to you, express your interest, and you'll be then guided as it relates to it. And again, my number is 336-4614, and that's Sergeant Golding.
All right, I am seeing a question. Are there any particular games that are of concern? So one of the games I hear a lot about is Roblox. Now, I personally am not familiar with Roblox. Sergeant Golding, are you?
I see my son playing it a lot, but what I do as it relates to Roblox, though, I try to. All right, so as a parent, now speaking to parents, I try to spend a lot of time with my son. I play a lot with him. And I believe that by playing, I learn a lot because psychologists will tell you children learn from playing. They play more and learn from it more than you sitting down and talking to them. So when I sit and play with him or I play with him, he will introduce me to what he's playing, and then I'll make my own checks as it relates to the persons he's playing with and look at their profile, etc. So I get an understanding of what's going on. And then what I oftentimes do is take up that device myself and log on like it's him and look at the different conversations. So what I'll say to persons is that, yes, the game is interesting for them, but make it an interest for you also as a parent as it relates to knowing what they're doing.
All right, thank you so much. All right, I'm seeing another question. If are all the children online really missing? Yes, so they would have been missing at some point. So remember, we would have gone through the process. They would have, the parent or guardian, they would have had to meet a particular criteria of the child not being where they're supposed to be, they're not at home, they're not at school, attempts to contact or locate the child have proven futile. Once all of that has taken place, all the pictures that you see online, that criteria has been met for all of those cases. The police have gotten involved and the child is really missing. Now, I know that a lot of times, if you have ever experienced a missing child, sometimes you might message us on social media or you might call the office and let us know that, oh, you know, this particular child returned home some days ago, or, you know, today is Monday. You may say the child returned home yesterday and so on. There is a process that we must follow. We have to ensure that the child has really returned home. So that requires in-person verification from the police. So if the child has returned home, you need to take them to the police station that the police can check that this is really the child that was reported missing and that they are doing well, that they aren't forced to turn up, and that no one is trying to trick us to remove the alert before the child has really returned home. So yes, the children, they were really reported missing, but if there's a situation where you see a child and you think they're no longer missing, we require that confirmation from the police, and it's at that time we will remove the alert.
So I see, is it Michaela? Asking a question. If someone is texting you and you don't know who it is and he or she knows your name and wants, what should you do? I'm guessing that's what you're trying to ask. All right, so if you at any point in time feel threatened in this case, like the situation that you have just put, you can go to the nearest police station and report the matter. The police will cause an investigation to be done, as well as they will make attempts to contact the other person on the line and to see or ask the person to desist. So if at any point in time you feel uncomfortable with a text coming to you and you have blocked the number, you have done everything that you can do, but if the person in this case knows your name and you don't know the person, go and report it, because then we don't want to take any risk of you becoming a victim of a crime. Very relevant information.
All right, so I'm seeing a question here. Someone has asked that there be more training, more parenting workshops done. And if we at CPFSA do these parenting workshops and trainings, yes, we definitely do. If you are interested in any of these sessions, you can visit your church, you can visit different clubs, or you can reach out to the CPFSA directly. Our email address for that kind of request is info, I-N-F-O, at childprotection.gov.jm. That is info at childprotection.gov.jm if you have any parenting workshop type of need.
You want to take that one?
Yes, I saw one a while ago. Someone was asking if OnlyFans is an adult website. Yes, it most definitely is. If you see your child accessing that type of content, you should be concerned. So yes, OnlyFans is definitely an adult website.
All right, so the question Erica Gilbert is asking, no longer this wait period. It has been that way for the longest time. We ask that once you recognize that somebody is missing, once the person has gone out of their natural occurrence in terms of going to work and coming home, and you make attempts to call the person, go and report it missing. Even after the person come home and they say, oh, my phone died, report it so that the police can be aware and we can start our investigations early. We recognize the importance of evidence gathering, and the sooner we get it, is the more impactful our investigations will be. So we ask that you do not wait. Do not wait. Immediately, that is the word I want to leave with you, that it resonates with you. Immediately, go to the nearest police station and report the matter. All right, please.
All right, thank you so much. I see anonymous attendee. You have asked if this information can be accessed on the CPFSA, JCF, or PICA website. All right, so the CPFSA website, or social media rather, we have active social media presence. So we share a lot. We share a lot of tips, and not only related to missing children. You could be interested in any of our other programs or services, and of course regarding missing children. But we do regularly share tips that parents can, or guardians, other family members can find very useful. Tonight's session is currently live streaming on YouTube, and afterwards you can find the full recording as well.
And I want to add that the Jamaica Constabulary Force Facebook, TikTok, Instagram page, we keep it very active with information. And we ask that any information you are uncertain about, visit our page for it, as well as you can contact our CCN, which will provide you with accurate information. We do not want you to go to source that may not have the accurate information, and as such, we want you to visit our website or social media pages to be able to get the accurate information.
All right. So someone has pointed out that, not all parents are tech savvy. Sometimes, the children, they know more and they know how to get around more. So how do you go around that? You go around that by being a part of sessions or initiatives just like this to learn. Because, we get up to date, or we understand what's happening just by learning. We have in the past delivered a longer or full-length discussion looking just at social media and some of the little things that we are seeing when it comes to teens and missing children, or child protection in general, where we discuss those and discuss what you as the parent or guardian can do to try and mitigate or try to protect your children from some of the dangers we have discussed. So we definitely understand, and we encourage you to participate in different sessions like this so that you can learn what is out there.
As well as I said earlier, play with them. They'll teach you involuntarily how to maneuver these apps. Trust me, they will.
Yes. All right. So is there an Ananda Alert app? We don't have a specific Ananda Alert app, but we do use technology in other ways. So there is no designated app. However, you can find the alerts on social media, on the WhatsApp channel, and you can sign up to be a part of the WhatsApp channel by sending us a message on social media, and we will add you to that group. My apologies, I'm thinking of a normal WhatsApp group, but you can search for the group in communities, and once you have found it, then you can, sign up to receive those alerts. I also want to add, though, sorry, Sergeant Golding, so text messages, I am encouraging persons to sign up to receive the text messages as well. They are free to you, and as soon as the child has gone missing and we're sending out that alert for a high alert case, you will get those to your cell phone immediately. It is free of cost, so of course encouraging you to sign up. You can again visit our social media platforms and send us a message to add you to that list, to add you to that database, Or you can visit our website, follow the Ananda Alert link, and fill out the form, and you will be added to the database.
As well as you may pay attention to the JCF social media pages, because we do post missing persons on it, as well as you can pay attention to the radio, as well as your news and television, local television stations.
All right. For Mervyn, thank you so much. If you were not able to catch this full presentation, you can find the recording on YouTube. So as soon as this live stream has ended, the recording can still be found on YouTube.
So I think this is, I'm not seeing the name, but what to do if a parent have given up on a child that is not behaving and wants the government to take the child? No, you're at the right place. I'm sure you're at the right place. Madam, you want to take that one?
Yes, I will take that. So there is definitely a process to a situation like that. And the first step is we need to know the information. We need to have a full understanding of what you are experiencing so that we can take it from there. So visit any of our CPFSA offices or call us at 211. And as we all know, 211 is free and it is a 24/7 hotline. So call, provide us with the information of what you are experiencing. We will start with an investigation to determine what is happening, why it's happening, because we always want to know the root cause, and we will take it from there. Now, a lot of situations can be addressed in the home. They can be addressed through, family sessions, mediation sessions, and so on, and that will always be our first attempt. So do not enter a situation thinking that we will automatically, or that it will be our first consideration to take the child. There are things that we want to, try first because we want to preserve the family unit. So that is definitely what we will do if we are presented with a situation like that. But of course, reach out to us and provide us with the information, and we will take action from there. All right. So the next question from Tashi, thank you so much. We provided a general overview or a general comparison of the missing children trends over the past 10 years. So we looked at 2014 to 2024. And it is about a 49%. I have to, get back to my slide. Thank you. It is about a 49% reduction. Now, if you were looking at the slide in detail, you will see that it is a gradual reduction. So, for example, in 2014, there were 1,984 reports. Then in 2019, 1,543 reports, and now in 2024, 1,011 reports. So it has been a gradual reduction over the years.
And I want to say to Kemar Campbell, yes, we are brothers and sisters. We are brothers and sisters in the fight to protect our children, the children of this nation, and as such, we continue to partner the JCF and CPFSA to ensure that it's done. The other part of answering the question, if you do find that a child or a parent has given up, the police also plays a role. You can inform the police, and we will also assist in contacting CPFSA in ensuring that child's safety and security is maintained. Some police officers are still informing parents. Now, so I can speak to this. I can speak to this as this one in particular, where they're saying some police officers are still informing parents that they have to wait until 24 hours. Now, our Commissioner of Police, Dr. Kevin Blake, sent out in our force orders as well as other publication informing or reminding members of the missing persons policy, which states that there is no 24-hour wait. And you will see our social media pages reinforcing that message. I am saying to you, if a member of the force tells any one of you, the citizens of Jamaica, that, write down their name and their badge number, because they're going to be wearing it on their uniform, call 119, inform them of the incident, and then the commissioner or the senior officer in charge of that division will take action against that member. We are very We are very sure that we have informed our members through different mediums. We have done it through briefings in the mornings, in the evenings, whenever a shift is about to go on, we do it in our briefing to ensure that all members of the JCF is aware of the directives of the organization.
All right, thank you so much. So there is a next question. Someone is wondering if the process that we have spoken about, if it's the same for children as well as for adults. Yes, it is. There is no 24-hour way to report any person missing, whether adult or child. Right? So we have done away with that requirement for years, and it applies to everyone. So whether adult or child, as soon as you cannot account for their whereabouts, they're not at home, they're not at work, they're not at, any places that they usually visit. And of course, efforts to contact or locate them have been made, and you have not been able to do so, report them missing to the nearest police station. The only difference is the way that risk is calculated. The risk assessment. So there are certain, I won't get into it too much, but there are certain criteria that must be met, and that will eventually determine whether it's a high risk or a low risk case, and so on. The way that risk is calculated for adults is a little bit different for children, especially when we're dealing with children under 12. But nonetheless, the report can still be made and an investigation will still be done. Sorry about that.
Oh, I was going to just add to say that children under 12, it's an immediate, the risk level goes up to 30 immediately. And of such, we take no, we just get into that investigation immediately. For adults, we look at other variables, and that will also increase the number as it relates to the risk assessment for that individual. I think it's children under 12 and elderly persons that's in immediate risk. They go to 30 almost immediately, or immediately.
All right, so we are now going to have Christopher Thomas, a representative from the Gleaner. You can go ahead with your question, sir.
All right, good evening. Am I being heard clearly?
Yes, you are, loud and clear. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so I know that you would have made mention as it relates to what happens when children that are reported missing when they return home, that checks are made as it relates to the circumstances. But do you have any percentage on hand or stats as it relates to where children return home, what percentage of those cases have their underlying issues actually resolved?
Unfortunately, I cannot quantify that for you at this time. So no, I don't have percentages. We do know, though, that when children do return home, or within the Ananda Alert Secretariat, our primary goal is to try and make contact with that particular family to see what the situation was, and we will refer for intervention. At times, that intervention may be done internally by our, children and family support unit or any other CPFSA service, or we may have to refer externally, for example, to the Victim Services Division or any of our other partners. So while I cannot quantify it, I can say that for the children that we are in touch with families while the child is missing. Once the child has returned home, we are referring to our counseling unit or any of our counterparts so that whatever the issue that they were experiencing, that it can be addressed.
Okay, because you don't want it to be a case where the child is repeatedly running away and it's a case where it was abuse that was going on and nobody was saying anything. Just as an example.
Yes, that is definitely true. So a part of the follow-up intervention that we do starts with an investigation. And this, of course, has to include conversation with the child, checks at school to see what was happening, checks with possible other family members, other community members, and so on, just so that we can have some insight as to what was possibly happening or still happening so that it can be addressed. So we recognize that once a child returned home, it's not a situation that the case is closed because there are so many other issues that might need to be addressed. So we make efforts to address those same issues.
So I see, sorry, is he?
Yes, that's it. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much for your questions. Go back on that one for me, please. So I see Natoya asking the question, children run away from spaces that they deem unsafe. What to do when your student tells you, Daddy did something bad? He used the iron pot to burst mommy's head. All right, so under the Community Safety and Security Branch, or the JCF, we have what we call the Domestic Violence Unit. What we have recognized from the Domestic Violence Unit and the different interventions that have taken place is that the children oftentimes become victims of these disagreements or the abuse that takes place during this, the altercation between the mother and the father. And as such, what we normally do is the intervention is not only to the parents, but we also look at the children involved to ensure that they get some form of counseling, as also we contact CPFSA. Now, as a teacher, you being informed of this, you have a responsibility to speak to the guidance counselor. And the guidance counselor, who is so trained, would see if she can do some form of intervention and then encourage the mother to report the matter to the police. And then the police will also now take control, wherein we will take the statement, take the report, arrest the father if needs be, and then recommend the mother to the Domestic Violence Unit in that division or in that area where further help can be given to the parents. So for the JCF, we take a holistic approach when it looks at our children's safety. We don't only take into consideration the children, we look at the parents and what affects the parents, how it affects the children.
All right, and to add to that, a child that is exposed to any, violence between parents we would consider that a situation where the child is in need of care and protection. So we understand that not all abuse or undesirable circumstances is being done directly to the child. Sometimes the child is just within proximity. They are just being exposed to the situation. If you are aware of any situation like that, go ahead and report it. And the number to report, I think we should all know this number by now. The number to report is 211. It is free and it is accessible 24/7. So if you have that kind of concern, call 211, reach out to the police as well, and we will take it from there. While I am on the topic of 211, there was another question. How do you go about making an anonymous report of child abuse? The same phone number, 211. You have the option to leave your name if you want to, but you also are at liberty to remain anonymous. So while our systems are confidential and while there are laws in place to protect you as the reporter, if you're still a little bit doubtful, you can go ahead and make that report anonymously. It does not limit the investigation that will be done. Our investigators will still reach out, will still investigate, and the same quality intervention will be provided.
All right, what do you do if you have a stalker? You can go to the police station and report it. We can guide you in taking out a protection order as well as get the matter before the court too, and the court can cause orders to be taken out to restrict the persons coming into your space, etc. So once you find that you have somebody, and again, I said it to you, once you find that you're uncomfortable in a situation, person knows where you live, knows your name, has your number, go and report it to the police. We can take it from different angles based on what is present or what the investigation uncovers. All right, so we ask that you report it to the police.
Yes. Another question. What if a father takes a child without the other parent's permission? How do you go about that? So a situation like that, it raises concerns regarding custody. How we would go about that is to have a sit down, have communication with all the parties or both parties, mother and father, to come to some agreement that we can agree on who the child, of course, lives with, what days the child visits the other parent, and so on. If we are unable to reach an agreement on our own, the matter will be sent to the family court as a custody matter. And once there, both parties will have an opportunity to present, the situation, and a decision will be made in the best interest of the child. So that applies to whether it's the mother taking the child without the other parent's permission, or if it's the father taking the child without the other parent's permission. It will be treated as a custody matter and could potentially end up in the family court.
But most importantly, I will reiterate again, in a case like this, report it also to the police, because the one parent taking a child from the other parent can lead to other situation of which the police would rather mitigate, prevent any furtherance of the matter, and to resolve it in the most amicable way possible. Because we realize that incidents tend to occur in situations such as these, where one or the other may get injured or result in an unforeseen circumstance, right? So we try to mitigate against it. So please, whilst you engage CPFSA, we ask that you engage the police and allow both agencies to work alongside each other to resolve the matters.
All right. And I believe this is our final question. We've had a lot of questions tonight, but are there processes in place to address situations of child endangerment that could possibly be conducive to kidnapping? For example, children as young as 3-year-olds being sent to the shop, or, children running other errands on their own, of course. And as Sergeant Golding said, it takes a community. So if you see something that is of concern, report it. Don't turn a blind eye to say it's not your child, or you would care for your child a particular way and you can't tell anyone how to raise their children. We understand, but report it. And I will say again, right now, we all know the number to report child abuse. That number is 211. Let us know which child. Let us know where to find them, and of course what is happening. So if you don't know the child's full name, provide us with a description, provide us with an address, provide us with directions if that is what you have. If you don't have full names, provide us with pet names even. We will do all that is in our powers to try and locate that child, have conversations and sessions with the parent or guardian so that they can be educated in better ways to care and protect for their children. If it's a situation that requires escalation to the police, of course, that is always an option, but we want you to make sure that you are reporting these situations so that we can have them addressed early. All right, and that is it. Thank you so much. All right, so I've mentioned before, the number to report is 211. The email address to report is report@childprotection.gov.jm. That is report@childprotection.gov.jm. And all reports of missing children must be made at the nearest police station.
As well as we ask that you call 119 also, please. So we are brothers and sisters. We can walk hand in hand, right? Yes.
Yes, so thank you very much. We've had fun answering your questions. And right now I hand back over to Mr. Brown.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you to our Q&A facilitators. Thank you. And it's one thing to want engagement. It's another thing to see the engagement so free-flowing. So thank you to all the persons in the Zoom chat on YouTube for your questions, your comments, your insights, your thoughts. We really enjoyed that segment. And it's heartwarming to see when persons want to know more information, and we were happy to provide you with that this evening. So now we're here for the closing of this session. We would have learned so much, heard so much, and we would have garnered information tonight, this evening, about how we can do better as adults in being stewards of our children. We have a responsibility not only to raise them, but to keep them safe. So I'm hoping that all of us tonight would have taken something away from this session in keeping our children safe and building that community to having all of our children in Jamaica safe and secured at their different homes. So just to remind you again, so if you want to know how to join the Ananda Alert community, the link is placed in the chat in Zoom right now and also on YouTube. Yes, and please follow our social media pages. On YouTube, it is the Child Protection and Family Services Agency. And on Instagram, it is at CPFSAJM. So you can send us a DM on social media. Any of our platforms will answer all your questions and route you to the place you should go with your concerns if it's beyond us. So 211, you report child abuse. The police across the island is 119. And we're asking you, please, as said earlier, don't wait 24 hours to report a child missing. If you have done all your due diligence in trying to locate them and it has all seemed futile, please reach out to us and let us try to do our best to keep our children safe. I know for some persons you would have missed parts of the presentation tonight, but it'll be on YouTube for as long as YouTube allows it to be online, which is as long as YouTube is existing. So please go back, rewind, take your notes, share, and we had over 500 persons on Zoom and over 80 persons on YouTube. So thank you so much for being a great community wanting to find information, and we appreciate you for being here tonight. I know some questions would have gone unanswered, but please reach out to us at our different media that we would have listed, and we'll be happy to have our online operators provide that answer for you. So your charge for tonight, as you close your devices, as you end this session, just talk to your children, build that community, tell them you love them, hug them, eat some food together, and just enjoy quality time. Reassure them that you love them, that you keep them safe, affirm them, and make them aware of ways that they can keep themselves safe as well. Vigilance should be on both parts of the adult and the child, and we have a responsibility to do what we have to do to keep them safe. So thank you so much for joining our webinar tonight. We wish you the very best, and we hope that you'll have a great night as we sign out in 3, 2, 1. Blessings, everyone.